Tonight, before you go to sleep, try something. Turn off every light in your home, not just the lamp beside your bed, not just the television, every light, then sit quietly and wait. At first, nothing happens. Your room still feels familiar. You recognize the furniture. You know exactly where everything is. But as the darkness deepens, something strange begins to happen. Your attention changes. Every small sound becomes more noticeable. A creak in the floor. Compared to many animals, humans are surprisingly bad at nighttime survival. A cat can see several times better than a human in low light. Owls can detect movement in near total darkness. Wolves can navigate environments that would leave humans nearly blind. Even today, your eyes are poorly adapted for darkness. Our ancestors knew this instinctively because every night brought uncertainty. Every shadow could hide danger. Every sound could signal a predator. Every rustle in the bushes demanded attention. For hundreds of thousands of years, surviving the night was humanity's greatest challenge, and that challenge left a permanent mark on the human brain. Imagine sitting around a campfire 50,000 years ago. The fire creates a small circle of safety. Beyond that circle lies darkness, and inside that darkness could be anything: a predator, an enemy, or something your brain simply doesn't understand. Humans evolved in a world where missing a threat could be fatal. If you ignored danger and were wrong, you might die. But if you assumed danger and were wrong, you lost almost nothing. Evolution rewarded caution. It rewarded alertness. It rewarded fear. The result is a brain constantly scanning for threats. Even when no threat exists, fear is not a flaw. Fear is a survival tool. And darkness is one of its most powerful triggers, because darkness creates uncertainty, and the human brain hates uncertainty. Your brain would rather invent an explanation than accept not knowing. When information disappears, imagination takes over. The less you can see, the more your brain fills in the blanks. Why do humans see things in the dark that aren't really there? Why do shadows sometimes look like people? Why do children believe monsters are hiding under their beds? The answer lies inside the human brain, a pattern recognition machine weighing less than 3 pounds. Your brain is constantly searching for patterns: faces, eyes, movement, shapes. For most of human history, this ability kept people alive. If something looked remotely dangerous, it was safer to react first and investigate later. Scientists call this a false positive, and humans are extremely prone to them. Imagine you're walking through a forest at night. You see a shape between two trees. Your brain instantly asks a question: is that a person? Most of the time, it isn't. But your brain treats the possibility seriously anyway. Throughout evolution, that strategy worked. The same mechanism explains why people see faces in clouds, faces in electrical outlets, faces on the moon, and sometimes faces in the darkness. Your brain is desperate to identify important information, even if it has to create meaning where none exists. This phenomenon has a name: pareidolia, and it affects almost everyone. When darkness removes information, pareidolia becomes stronger. Your brain begins connecting incomplete shapes. A shadow becomes a figure. A coat becomes a person. A reflection becomes a face. And suddenly your heart rate increases, even though nothing has actually changed. The danger exists only inside your mind. But to your brain, imagined danger can feel real. And that is why darkness remains powerful, not because of what it contains, but because of what your brain believes it might contain. The real fear was never the darkness itself. The real fear was the unknown. But if that were true, one question still remains: why do we still fear darkness today? Most of us no longer sleep beside campfires. We don't worry about predators waiting outside our homes. We lock our doors. We turn on lights. We live in the safest world humans have ever known. And yet, a dark room can still feel uncomfortable. An empty hallway can still feel unsettling. and a strange noise in the middle of the night can still make your heart race, because evolution moves slowly. The world around us changed in just a few thousand years, but the human brain was shaped over hundreds of thousands. The brain inside your skull is modern, but many of its instincts are ancient. It still remembers a world where darkness meant uncertainty, a world where uncertainty could mean death, and perhaps that is why children fear the dark. Their imagination fills the unknown. They see monsters beneath the bed, shapes inside the closet, faces in the shadows. But in reality, adults do something very similar. The monsters simply change shape. Children fear what might be hiding in the room. Adults fear what might be hiding in the future. Both are forms of the same thing, fear of the unknown. Even the strange feeling that someone is watching you can be explained by this ancient system. Your brain evolved to detect threats before they became visible. Sometimes it would rather create a false alarm than miss a real danger. Most of the time, that feeling is wrong. But throughout history, being cautious kept people alive. And that ancient survival system still exists inside every one of us. Darkness itself has never changed. The night has never changed. What changed is the world around us. Streetlights, cities, locked doors, electricity, technology. But the human brain still carries echoes of a much older world. A world where every sunset marked the beginning of uncertainty. And maybe that's why, even today, an empty dark room can feel far more crowded than it really is. Not because something is there, but because your brain has spent hundreds of thousands of years preparing for the possibility that something might be. The darkness was never the enemy. The unknown was, and perhaps it always will be.